Gemini, have you been feeling exhausted lately, without really knowing why? Your body feels fine, your work seems normal, but deep down, there's this strange heaviness, a quiet weight sitting in your chest. You still smile, still talk, still act like your usual quick, lively self, but inside, does it feel like your energy is slowly slipping away, bit by bit? Don't rush to blame yourself for being tired. This isn't random at all. When the soul starts to feel weary, it isn't a sign of weakness. It's a signal that the universe is preparing you for a major turning point. A plan your mind can't yet grasp, but your heart has already started to sense. You see, Gemini is the child of the wind. Always moving, always curious, always wanting to understand everything. But sometimes, that very nature scatters your energy in too many directions. You listen to too many voices from the world, and forget the true voice within yourself. And so, the universe has to make you pause. Not because you're on the wrong path, but because you've been moving too fast, too far away from your own center. This fatigue, it's how cosmic energy gently pulls you back, to help you reconnect with what truly matters. If you notice, whenever you're tired, you usually try to push through it, right? But this time is different. This time, something within you whispers, stop. Because behind this exhaustion, a destined door is about to open. And before you step through it, the universe needs you to be empty, still, and ready to fully receive what's coming. So don't be afraid if today you don't have as much energy as before. See it as the first message. Because sometimes, when the universe makes you tired, it's not to stop you, it's to prepare you to begin again, in a completely new way. Now, take a deep breath. Pour yourself a cup of tea or your favorite coffee, and sit down with me. Because this journey, it's not just about feeling tired, but about how the universe is gently whispering to you, dear Gemini. It's time to change everything. Part 1. Fatigue is not a coincidence. Gemini, have you been feeling drained lately without really knowing why? It's like everything seems fine. You still work, still talk, still try to keep up your usual rhythm, yet inside, there's this quiet emptiness you can't name. A silent void seeps into each breath. And suddenly, the things that once excited you no longer spark anything within. You look at your familiar work, and the fire just isn't there. You meet friends, still smiling and laughing as usual. But afterward, you feel strangely tired, as if every conversation, every small interaction, is quietly draining your energy. Gemini, this isn't physical exhaustion. It's not because you lack sleep, vitamins, or because someone let you down. What you're feeling is a kind of soul fatigue, a subtle signal from the universe that your inner energy is preparing to shift to a higher frequency. You're standing in a transitional space, no longer the person you once were, but not yet the new version of yourself. That emptiness you feel is where your soul is being restructured. You, the child of the wind, are always moving, always communicating, always seeking connection and understanding. But in that constant motion, your mind has opened too many channels, absorbing too many voices, too many emotions, too many stories that aren't truly yours. Mercury, your ruling planet, the planet of thought, speech, and information flow, is overloaded. It's like a machine that's been running non-stop, processing thousands of signals each day with no time to shut down. And now, the universe is forcing you to unplug, to reset your entire consciousness. The fatigue you're feeling isn't collapse. It's a process of energetic reconstruction. When the soul prepares for a leap, it needs to retrieve all the scattered energy, pulling it back to the center in order to shift frequencies. That's why you suddenly feel like you don't want to do anything, like you've lost motivation for the things you once loved. You haven't lost your energy. It's simply being withdrawn from what no longer aligns with who you're becoming. Sometimes you ask yourself, why do I feel so useless? Why don't I want to talk to anyone? Why do I just want to be alone? But Gemini, that's not a bad thing. You're not broken. You're upgrading. Imagine you're a device downloading a new version of your soul. Everything has to stop to be quiet, so the new system can install itself properly. The feeling of fatigue is just the signal that this process is happening. In astrology, when Mercury is influenced by Saturn or Neptune as it is now, Geminis often fall into a temporary state of disorientation. You speak less. Your emotions slow down. Your intuition sharpens. Yet it's hard to describe what you feel. The universe is forcing you to listen to the inner sound instead of the noise of the world. Because if you keep chasing external signals, you'll never hear the true calling of your soul. Let yourself rest. Allow yourself not to know, not to be clear, not to be perfect. Right now, you're not meant to understand, only to feel. When the new energy is ready, you'll know the way. For now, the universe just wants you to pause and reconnect with yourself. Do you notice? All this time, you've tried to maintain the image of being fine. But deep down you know you're not the same person anymore. This change is confusing, but don't resist it. This exhaustion is proof that you're being prepared for a new journey. One where you'll no longer speak out of habit, but from intuition. No longer think with logic, but feel with your soul. Gemini, don't be afraid if you don't understand what's happening. Just trust that the universe knows exactly what it's doing with you. Every closed door, every pause in energy is protection. Because if everything kept flowing smoothly, you would never stop. And if you never stopped, you'd never realize where you were truly heading. So this time, don't try to push through the fatigue. Let it teach you to listen. Let it teach you to be silent. Because in that silence, the universe is rewriting your story in a new language, one of awakening and return. If this message resonates with you, leave a comment saying, "I'm ready to reset," as a promise to your own soul that you're ready for the next chapter. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because there are more signs ahead that you'll want to recognize when they come. Now, close your eyes for a few seconds. Take a deep breath. You haven't lost your energy, Gemini. You're simply being called back to begin again from the very source of your own light. Part 2. The true source of Gemini's exhaustion. Gemini, have you ever wondered why you feel tired even when you haven't done anything too demanding? Why your mind keeps spinning like a fan, yet the results never feel fulfilling? You can sit still, but your thoughts are running in 100 directions. You smile during a conversation, but deep down, you're thinking about 3 other things. That the fragmentation of your mind is the deepest root of your exhaustion. Gemini is the sign of intellect, communication, and the constant flow of information. You were born to connect, to understand, to listen, and to express. But sometimes, your greatest gift also becomes your heaviest burden. Because you understand too much, you feel too deeply, and your energy spreads too widely. A bit here, a bit there, a piece of you given to everyone, until one day you realize there's barely anything left for yourself. You're not weak, Gemini. You're just dividing yourself into too many versions. One who has to be sharp at work. One who must stay cheerful with friends. One who's strong in love. One who always holds everyone together when things fall apart. And when all those versions coexist, Your soul begins to wear out because it no longer knows which one is truly you. For every Gemini, this fatigue shows up differently. And if you pay close attention, you'll find yourself belonging to one of three groups, each carrying a unique lesson the universe wants you to revisit. Group 1. May 20. 1. 31. You are the intuitive, sensitive, and emotionally perceptive Geminis. You don't just hear what people say, you hear what they hide. And that's what drains you. Because you try to understand everyone, you end up carrying their emotions as your own. You've become the emotional translator for the world so attuned to others that you forget to listen to your own heart. The universe has a clear message for you. You don't have to understand everything. Not everyone wants to be understood. And not every pain needs you to carry it. When you allow yourself not to know, that's when you finally begin to feel. Group 2. June 1. 10. You are the Geminis most strongly ruled by Mercury. Sharp-minded, eloquent, and quick. But that same brilliance makes you demand perfection from yourself. You always want to be right, smart, pleasant, and put together in every situation. You fear silence, mistakes, or moments when you seem off guard. Over time, you begin to live under the pressure of being your best self all the time. The universe whispers, "You don't have to be perfect to be loved." When you can say, "I'm not okay today," that's when your soul begins to heal. Let your words return to being breaths, not masks. You are not your intellect. You are the soul using that intellect to evolve. Groupe 3. June 11, 21. You are the most emotionally deep Geminis, yet the best at hiding it. You know emotions can be misunderstood, so you choose silence. You laugh, you joke, you act light-hearted, but only to cover the waves beneath your heart. That suppression slowly distances you from your true self. You fear being hurt, so you build walls with smiles. But your soul knows. Everything you suppress becomes a weight. The message for you: don't be afraid to let someone see the real you, because only when you dare to cry, to be soft, to stop performing, will your energy finally be set free. See, Gemini? No matter which group you belong to, the pattern is the same. You're tired because you've been living away from your true energetic center. You've spent too long inside your social versions, the ones that know how to please, impress, or fit in, and you've forgotten what your soul looks like when it's not trying. Now, the universe is gently pulling the plug on those roles, one layer at a time, one relationship at a time, one habit at a time, disconnecting you from the artificial and bringing you home to where your energy truly belongs. If you feel lost right now, don't be afraid. This is your realignment. When the universe makes you stop, it's because a new path is about to unfold, one where you won't need to act, to try, or to shine, for anyone, only to be yourself. Gemini, you are not weak. You're simply being called home. This exhaustion is a message from your soul, not a punishment. And when you begin to listen to it, you'll feel your true energy returning pure, light, and radiant as ever. Which group do you belong to? Leave your birth date in the comments below, so we'll know where you are on your journey. And don't forget to subscribe, because in the next part, we'll explore how the universe is stepping in to bring you back to the very center of your own light. Part 3. When the universe intervenes. The mandatory stillness. Gemini, have you noticed how lately everything around you has fallen strangely silent? Conversations that used to excite you now feel heavy. Ideas that once flowed endlessly suddenly feel locked away. You open your mouth to speak but have no words. You sit down to write, but your mind feels blank. This isn't you losing energy. This is the universe deliberately switching off Mercury's frequency within you, your ruling planet of thought and speech. And when Mercury goes offline, it feels like everything is slipping from your grasp. Words don't come easily. Creative sparks fade, and your mind turns hazy and slow, as if you've been placed in a vacuum. But this isn't punishment. This is a divine protection mode. The universe is stopping you from talking, from overthinking, from running endlessly through other people's worlds so that you can finally start listening to your own voice again. You see, Gemini is the sign most likely to lose itself amid the noise. You hold the gift of words, and you use that gift to comfort others, to soothe pain, to guide people toward the light. You are a healer through language, one who can articulate what others struggle to understand. But when you only speak for others, when you keep listening to the world yet never to your own soul, imbalance begins to take root. The universe sees this, and so it intervenes. It cuts the signal. It forces silence, not to abandon you but to help you hear again. Strange, isn't it? When you lose the desire to talk, you begin to observe more. When you can't explain things logically, you start to feel them more deeply. When people no longer respond the way they used to, you're forced to turn inward. That's the subtle yet powerful way the universe intervenes. It's stopping you from healing others, from managing others' emotions, so that you can heal yourself first. If lately you felt isolated, misunderstood, or like everything around you has slowed down to a frustrating stillness, understand that you are in the soul's quiet zone. This is a sacred space with no noise, no rush, and no need to be someone. Here, there is only you and the whisper of your true self. But at first, that whisper is faint, because you're not used to listening. You'll hear it mixed with doubt. What am I even doing? Have I lost my spark? Am I falling behind? Gemini, no. You're not falling behind. You're being taken into the deepest reset of your life, where the universe renews the energy within you. When your mind stops, your soul starts to move. When you become silent, your real energy begins to speak. This divine intervention might feel confusing or even scary. Gemini thrives on connection, conversation, and quick movement, and now you're being asked to live slowly, to listen less, to speak less, to withdraw from the noise. But within this slowness, something sacred is happening. Your mind, heart, and soul are sinking into harmony. Before, your mind always led, and your emotions followed. Now, the universe is reversing that flow. It wants your heart to lead and your mind to simply record what your soul experiences. That's why your old logic no longer works. You're shifting to a higher layer of awareness, intuition. Gemini, this is when you must relearn how to communicate, not through words, but through energy. When you sit in silence and feel, you begin to hear more the sound of your heart, the hum of the universe, the echoes of what you once missed. The universe is teaching you how to speak through presence, to understand through feeling, and to love through stillness. If you're in this phase where nothing seems to work, where you feel lost and disconnected, know this: it's not the end. It's a moment of protection. You're not being left behind. You're being hidden to heal. Like a seed resting in the dark before it sprouts, you're being held in sacred soil, preparing for the light. And when the time comes, when Mercury switches back on, you'll notice your words carry an entirely different frequency. They'll no longer be random sentences, but truth transmitted through vibration. You won't speak to fill silence anymore, you'll speak to awaken souls. And people will feel it. Gemini, if you're in this space of stillness, feeling empty, quiet, or no longer wanting to force connection, surrender beautifully and completely. Because this silence is the medicine the universe has sent for you. If this resonates, comment, "I surrender," as a declaration that you're ready to release the noise and finally hear yourself. And don't forget to subscribe, because in the next part, you'll see how your energy begins to restructure, and you'll understand why this silence today is actually the first step toward liberation. Part 4. Energy restructuring, boundaries, and liberation. Gemini, have you ever wondered why you always feel exhausted, even when you're just living normally? It's because all this time, you've been giving away too much of your energy without realizing it. 90% of your life force has been spent talking, thinking, and connecting, trying to sustain relationships, conversations, and responsibilities that, deep down, you may no longer belong to. You're always the one who starts the conversation, who comforts others, who makes things smoother. But now, the universe is gently whispering to you, it's time to reverse the flow. No more soulless conversations. No more filling empty spaces with reluctant presence. The universe is teaching you to be silent so you can feel deeper, to speak less so you can hear more, to give less so you can preserve your energy for yourself. Because when you talk less, your energy starts flowing back to you. And when it returns to your center, you'll realize you were never truly drained. You just gave too much of yourself to places that didn't deserve it. During this phase, something unusual happens. People who once drained you quietly fade away. Relationships that once confused you naturally drift out of your life without a single confrontation. Don't be afraid. This isn't loss. It's the universe performing an energetic cleansing on your behalf. Shallow connections will dissolve. Only soul-based bonds, those where you can simply be yourself without effort, will remain. Right now, Jupiter is expanding Gemini's 9th house, the realm of wisdom, faith, and enlightenment. This means you're entering one of the most profound learning phases of your soul's journey. Yet paradoxically, to absorb this wisdom, you don't need to seek more. You need to be quieter. Why? Because Jupiter can only expand when your mind is still enough to receive. Every unnecessary word, scattered thought, or meaningless conversation now becomes static, blocking you from hearing the universe's guidance clearly. The universe is teaching you about energetic boundaries, not separation, but knowing when to stop. You don't need to say everything to be understood. You don't need to be everywhere to be remembered. You don't need to please everyone to be loved. When you begin to choose carefully where your energy goes, you send a powerful signal to the world. I am worthy of being cherished. I choose peace. And when that vibration goes out, your reality begins to rearrange itself accordingly. You might feel lonely in this process because people who once felt close suddenly drift away and familiar bonds no longer feel safe. But remember, you're not losing anyone. You're regaining yourself. You're reclaiming the fragments of your energy that were scattered across time and people. You're remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. Observe these changes gently. When you speak less, you'll feel your inner energy expand like a new space opening inside you. When you stop reacting to everything, you'll feel peace seeping into every cell. When you stop chasing others, you'll realize you were never left behind. You were simply being guided back toward your own light. Astrologically, this is the perfect moment for Gemini to rebuild their personal energy system. Write down the things that exhaust you and ask yourself, do I really need to keep this? Set boundaries with relationships that don't reciprocate. Disconnect from stories that make you smaller. Because the moment you release, new energy rushes in your work, your love life, and your spirit. And as you start listening instead of talking, feeling instead of analyzing, everything within you will begin to restructure. Your mind will become clearer, your emotions purer, and your soul, after years of dispersion, will finally return home. Gemini, don't rush to fill this silence, because it's within this very stillness that the universe is rewriting you. When you stop trying to hold on to others, everything meant for you will naturally find its way. When you stop proving your worth, those who see it will show up. When you learn to stop, you've already begun to move in an entirely new way. If you can feel this shift, if your energy feels lighter, deeper, more authentic, then you are exactly where you need to be. Trust this divine arrangement. None of it is random. And if you're starting to feel this transformation, comment, I choose peace, as a declaration that you've chosen serenity over noise. Don't forget to subscribe, because the next part will be the most important one. Yet, the rebirth ritual of the Gemini soul, where you'll finally understand why everything had to pause so you could begin again with completely renewed energy. Part 5. The Awakening Ritual. The rebirth of the Gemini mind. When a butterfly breaks its cocoon, it must die once to be able to fly. The cocoon never imprisoned it. It was the sacred space of transformation. Gemini. The exhaustion you've been feeling is just like that moment, the soul's initiation ritual, where you are no longer who you used to be, but are being reshaped to live in alignment with your true self. You've walked through silent days, long sleepless nights, and moments where you couldn't even understand yourself. You've watched relationships fade, and the things that once thrilled you now feel distant. But if you look deeper, you'll realize that nothing was truly lost. Only an old layer was being shed, revealing the radiant soul you had forgotten. This exhaustion was never your enemy. It was the beginning of liberation. When you're tired, you're forced to stop. When you stop, you begin to see. And when you see, you finally touch the deepest part of yourself, the part you've been too busy to notice. The universe is guiding you through a symbolic death, so that you may be born again with new thoughts, new energy, and a higher awareness. Astrologically, this phase is like when Mercury, your ruling planet, ends its retrograde and prepares to move forward again. Everything that was paused, slow, or tangled begins to clear. But for Mercury to operate at a higher frequency, all old interference must be cleansed. That's why you were forced to rest, forced into stillness. The universe isn't punishing you, it's rebuilding the entire Gemini energy system, so that you can express truthfully, live authentically, and connect more deeply than ever before. You see, Gemini represents two worlds, the intellect and the soul. For so long, your intellect has been leading, while your soul has followed. But now, the balance is shifting. The universe is teaching you to slow down, to speak less, to feel more, to let intuition, that subtle yet powerful current, awaken and move alongside your intellect. There will be moments when you feel different, quieter, deeper, more sensitive, and maybe no longer resonating with your old circles. But don't panic. It only means you're flying at a new frequency. You're no longer drawn to noise, but to truth. No longer satisfied by surface talk, but yearning for soul-level connection. This is the mature Gemini, the one who speaks less, but whose every word carries energetic weight, the one who doesn't need noise to be heard. And in every awakening there is a ritual. No incense, no complex prayers, just a moment of raw honesty with yourself. Try this right after you finish listening to this part. Take a piece of paper and write down 3 things you need to release, and 3 things you want to carry forward into your new chapter. The 3 things to release could be a relationship that drains you, a habit that makes you forget yourself, or a fear that keeps you small. The 3 things to keep might be gratitude, peace, or the belief that you are worthy. When you're done writing, read them softly. Then take a deep breath and feel the energy shifting inside you. That is your ritual of rebirth, the moment you consciously choose who, what, and what kind of energy will walk with you into this new life. Because in the end, Gemini, fatigue was never failure. It was divine preparation. It was proof that the universe was still working quietly behind the scenes, preparing you to receive something greater. You were never losing energy. You were being reborn. And one morning, when you wake up and notice that you no longer feel the same heaviness, smile. That's the sign you've crossed the threshold. You've walked through the night of the soul. And now, the light is returning not from outside, but from within you. Gemini, you are becoming the strongest and truest version of yourself. Trust that every moment of fatigue, every tear, every silence, every lonely night was part of the transformation that gave you your wings. Because fatigue isn't failure, it's divine preparation. You're not losing energy, you're being reborn. If you can feel this energy within you, comment, "I'm ready to be reborn," as a sacred declaration that you're ready to step into the chapter where you live your truth. And remember to subscribe, because this journey isn't just about exhaustion. It's about the new light rising within you, Gemini. Gemini, the exhaustion you're feeling right now isn't the end. It's the beginning of a brand new chapter. The universe isn't stopping you as punishment, it's asking you to slow down, to feel more deeply, and to finally listen to yourself. The greatest lesson of this journey is this: not every battle is meant to be fought sometimes. Letting go is how the universe leads you home. When you embrace the silence, you begin to hear what your soul truly needs. When you stop running, you realize the path has been right in front of you all along. Remember, fatigue isn't failure, it's divine preparation. You're not losing energy. You're being reborn in the exact way your soul has chosen. If this message resonates with you, hit like, subscribe, and comment, "I'm ready for my divine plan," to affirm that you're ready for the next chapter of your life. See you in the next video, where we'll continue this journey of awakening with the universe, Gemini.